ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦਿਸ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ੋ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਜੌਨ ਨਿਊਵਨਬਰਗ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਮਵਰ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਕੋਚ ਹਨ। ਆਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਇਨਗਰੀਡੀਐਂਟਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਸਕਸੈਸਫੁਲ ਹੋ ਸਕੀਏ। ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੌਨ ਨਿਊਵਨਬਰਗ ਦਾ। Welcome to the program.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for your time. So John, a little bit about yourself. You're a business coach.
Yes.
How did you get associated with this field, and what drives you to do what you do?
Well, I got certified as a business coach in 2004 with a large international body. But I had an epiphany about 2 or 3 years later that one of those bolt upright, middle of the night, blazing moments of clarity where I suddenly understood I've always been a coach. It was called different things in different parts of my life when I had senior roles in management and so forth in other companies, but it's always been a style of coaching. A coach is someone who really wants to see others succeed.
Right.
And that's always been my leadership or management style, to work through others and help them figure it out for themselves.
Right.
So coaching is I'm just hardwired to be a coach. I like getting paid for it, but in fact, my real reward is seeing people succeed.
Absolutely, and that's the real reward when someone says that you gave me this advice and I become successful.
Yeah, that's
great.
That's pretty fun.
So as you said, if you were built as a coach, that's what you were destined for. What all have you done so far with your clients? Basically, like have you worked with some major clients also, or from just working with the big businesses, or there are some small businesses also which you coach?
The range of businesses that I work with is around 200,000 for a solo entrepreneur. Usually they have a professional practice of some kind, so they're accountants and lawyers and health practitioners, that kind of thing. And they might do 250, or if they have a clinic, it might be about $1 million.
Right.
And then on the other side, I work with business owners that typically have a manufacturing plant of some kind,
right,
a facility where they produce products, and they might go as big as about 10 million.
Wonderful. John, generally what happens is when you are starting a business, there are other costs also involved with it, and many times a person feels, let me do it on my own, let's save some money, why to get some advice and pay to someone else? Yes, once we succeed, then we can think of some business coach or something of that kind. Is this mentality existing amongst the people, do you think?
Very much. One of the things that I think is I suggest for many of the owners that I work with is that they do a survey, a time audit, that they keep a record for a week,
right,
of the way in which they use their time. And as after the week's concluded, I have them allocate each of the activities into one of 4 boxes, a bit of an analytical tool. And the goal of which is to help identify what is the work that you currently do that produces great value for you and your business. And if we were to kind of give it an hourly rate, it might be $200, $300, $500. That's not unusual for a lawyer to be charging out at $500.
Right.
And then have a look at some of the other work that you do. Typically it's more administrative. And lots of times what people discover is a lot of the work they do, someone else will do that work for them for $20 or $25 an hour, which they'd be happier to do. And that frees them up either to have a lifestyle choice, they can have some more fun or do something, or in fact they can go out and produce more value for themselves in the business by doing work that they're more qualified to do and generates a lot more value for the business.
Right. So it's not just giving advice, it's time management. There are many other things which are talked about, which we'll discuss in later on.
Okay.
So now the question that arises is that we have heard about coaches as such who guide you, and especially for athletes we know there are coaches. Why do you think there is a need for a coach to succeed in business also?
Yeah, that's a good question. Anyone who wants to perform at a high level, typically people perform at a higher level if they have someone outside of themselves hold themselves accountable. So you mentioned athletes. Every great golfer, every great tennis player has a coach, and presumably, that golf instructor, that tennis coach isn't even as good a tennis player. Isn't that kind of ironic?
Right.
But to be a good coach means that I have the ability to have an arm's length third-party point of view, what you're doing well, help kind of hold that up to you and mirror that back to you, so that you can have an objective look at what you're doing.
Right.
Typically I get brought on because someone's looking for some help in the business side of business coaching, business systems, principles, tools, that kind of thing. But where the real value often gets discovered is in the personal coaching, the helping around time management,
Right.
helping around your belief system. And then the third area that produces a lot of value for my clients is the business of accountability.
Right.
Having, lots of times business owners, they kind of feel isolated. They don't really have anyone that they hold themselves accountable to. And
That's right.
often they're not doing what they know they ought to be doing. And when they express that out loud to me and we kind of make a pact, well, then they find themselves actually getting it done.
Right. Statistics also point to this particular fact that emotionally, if we get involved in a business, it doesn't last for long. The statistics point out that after every 4 years, majority of the businesses get closed on because they didn't do the right kind of planning which was to be done before.
Yeah.
Had it been done, they could have succeeded. Now, with your experience, John, take us on this journey for a small entrepreneur who wants to start a business, and especially our youngsters. What are the things which they need to keep in mind before they get involved in some business instead of repenting later on?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would get them to have a very clear sense of themselves.
Right.
The most important thing in order to be a good entrepreneur or a good businessman is the quality of grit or determination or perseverance.
Right.
Much of what an entrepreneur faces is an environment that's really kind of set up so that everything is against them. Entrepreneurs who are successful are the ones that are best at solving that problem of figuring out how to persevere, how to keep going when
Right.
others don't. So the first thing you'd want to say to an entrepreneur is, do you have the stamina, the
Right.
perseverance to make this thing work? Often entrepreneurs are very poor employees.
Right.
They get fired a lot because they're unemployable, because they always feel like they can do it better than anyone else. They have a better picture of what they can do. So if you have that sense of free will and independence, that's probably good quality for you to have as a business owner.
Right. So basically, you start with their personal development. That's
Yeah.
what you focus on. That's the foundation on which you start working.
Well, in the framework of the way that you asked me the question, what should someone think about who's starting or thinking about
Right.
getting into business? The first thing they might like to ask themselves is, do I have the mindset of what it takes to
Right.
be successful?
And that's where you start working, and then you continue building them up, and then comes the business aspect and other thing. We'll go for a short break, come back and learn more from you from your experience as to what entrepreneurs and small business owners should know to be successful. Thank you for your time. ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੌਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਨ ਉਹ 1984 ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਕੋਚਿੰਗ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਕਸਦ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਨਮ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਾਂ। ਛੋਟੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨੈਸਿਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨੈਸਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਲਾਹ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਗੇਨ ਫੋਕਸ ਇਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋਇਆ ਜਾਏ। ਕੋਚ ਦੀ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਲੇਅਰਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਕੋਚ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਕਾਊਂਟੇਬਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਜੌਨ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਚਿੰਗ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਅਕਾਊਂਟੇਬਲ ਹੋਵੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਐਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਲਈ। ਪਰਸੇਵਰੈਂਸ, ਡਿਟਰਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ, ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਫਰਦਰ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ। ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਜੀ, ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
Once again, welcome back to the program. ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜੌਨ ਨਿਊਵਨਬਰਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਮਵਰ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਕੋਚ ਹਨ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਵਾਸਟ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਕੋਚਿੰਗ ਲੈਣੀ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਕਾਮਯਾਬੀ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਐਸਾ ਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਫਰੇਮਵਰਕ ਬਣਾ ਲਿਆ ਜਾਏ ਜਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੌਲੀ-ਹੌਲੀ ਗ੍ਰੈਜੂਅਲੀ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋ। ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਵੁਕ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਹੜੀ-ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ। So before the break, John, as you were mentioning that the mindset is looked into and then the guidance is started to be given. So now, for example, I want to open up a restaurant. I have no knowledge about it, but I get inspired by going to a restaurant and finding out over there that this is running very successfully. I think, oh yes, I can hire someone and start working on it. Now, when you take a decision based on emotions or on the basis of somebody else is succeeding, how far do you think we can go further in that kind of business?
Yeah. Well, certainly we were talking about the drive and the passion that's required. So if you don't possess that drive and passion, you won't you'll find yourself always being challenged and unable to overcome some of the obstacles.
Right.
Typically when I work with business owners, they're challenged in one of three main areas. So area number one, we kind of touched on that a little bit, is how they use time.
Right.
So they're often saying things like, I've got too much to do, not enough time to do it, or if I don't get it done, it doesn't get done, or they kind of live in a world where they feel like they're playing whack-a-mole, the game in the arcade, and they just do the next thing, or they're kind of like a pinball, and so they don't really have a way of using time that helps them produce the results. So that's the first area.
Right.
The second area has to do with team. You're starting a restaurant, and so lots of business owners feel like they don't really get to hire the people they like to get, or the people that are working for them aren't very motivated, or they can't do the work as well as they do, and so one of the things that business owners have to learn is effective leadership skills, proper delegation skills, how to work and build a culture with a team.
Right.
And then the third part, the third big area that I work with business owners has to do with money, and money comes in two departments. So the first section has to do with counting the money, the financials of the money, measuring and analytics and that kind of thing. And then the second area of money, and usually the one that's more significant, has to do with I need more money, I need better sales, and I need better marketing. So typically the work that we do together with a business owner is in one or all three of those areas.
Right, so it's a comprehensive thing that you have to work on all the fronts. It's not just tackling one front, you have to consecutively work on all the other fronts so that you can be successful.
Yeah, when I get started with a business owner, we have a diagnostic, a kind of a tool that helps us figure out where the owner is at the moment, where, what they're good at and what they need some help with.
Right.
And that helps us form a 1-year, let me call it a strategic plan, and from there we work out a 90-day plan that says here's what we're going to get done in the next 90 days.
So from the short-term plan to the long-term plan, that's how you start working.
Yeah.
Now, with your experience, John, if I may ask you that, what would be your advice, suggestion to new entrepreneurs, especially youngsters who want to come into the business field, because it's very attractive. Generally, our mindset is to go and to find a job, but there are many youngsters who want to start with a new business venture, or they want to partner with someone. So, with your experience, what would you advise them?
Have a plan. Have as much time working on the business, designing and building the business, as you do in the business. Get yourself a mentor of some kind, whether that's a paid mentor or someone who's had the experience, that's had some of the challenges that that you're going to experience, someone that you can turn to and get some help and advice from. If you're starting from business, it's good to have some runway. And what I mean by that is 6 or 12 months where you're at least comfortable. You won't, you won't have enough. It won't be enough. But at least the major bills, the cost of living is going to be covered for yourself.
In this fast-paced life where everything is changing, technology is driving the businesses now. How important is technology right now for any kind of business? What do you feel about that?
Small business owners typically aren't very knowledgeable, don't take very much time in understanding how technology can help leverage their business.
Right.
At the level of businesses I work at, as to just for a simple example, having a CRM, a customer relations management system, some way that organizes how you communicate with your new prospects, how you communicate with your existing clients. All of that can be organized and automated and systematized so that it happens routinely.
Right.
And yet something, I consider that to be pretty fundamental and something that is almost basic lots of business owners haven't really invested the effort or time to figure out how to do that.
Right.
So even at a relatively simple level, there's lots of technology that can help.
Right. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much and best wishes. And before you leave, we would like your phone number where if someone wants to contact you, where they can call you.
Well, I'm easy to reach, 604-687-5542. Or if you look up W5 Coaching, it's all over the internet.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ। ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਿੰਨ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਨਾਕਾਮਯਾਬੀ ਵੱਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਫੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਾਈਮ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਨਾ ਹੋਣੀ। ਦੂਸਰਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਹੀ ਟੀਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਟੀਮ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਸਕਿੱਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਹੋਣੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਥਰਡਲੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਪੈਸਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਇਹ ਤਿੰਨੋਂ ਫੈਕਟਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਮਯਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ। ਕੋਚਿਸ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵਰਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਨ ਉਹ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇੱਕ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਸ਼ਾਰਟ ਟਰਮ ਲੌਂਗ ਟਰਮ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਕੋਚ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਸਲਾਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਓਗੇ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟੀਕਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਹੈ, ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟੀਕਲ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਮਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਾਇਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕੋਚ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਕਾਊਂਟੇਬਲ ਬਣਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਕਾਊਂਟੇਬਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਕਾਮਯਾਬੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਸਮਾਲ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਓਨਰਸ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਐਂਟਰਪ੍ਰੇਨਿਓਰਸ ਜੋ ਹਨ, ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ, ਮੁਫਤ ਸਲਾਹ ਲੈਣੀ ਚਾਹਣ ਤਾਂ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਤੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ।